Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over an upcoming winter storm for portions of the Great Lakes and the Northeast. These areas could be picking up another 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. This would be for tomorrow into Monday. This is not your Christmas or Christmas Eve storm that I know a lot of you guys have been seeing on the internet. I'll be talking about that in Sunday's video, so tomorrow's video I'll probably be making a video on that. So we're going to focus on a smaller storm first that I haven't seen a lot of people talking about. It will be a smaller storm. It'll be quite fast moving, but definitely it'll be kind of a nuisance storm, maybe 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. We'll be giving you my snowfall forecast at the end of the video, so make sure you are staying tuned all the way until the end. And again, tomorrow we'll start covering that Christmas Eve storm, which will have huge implications on who will be seeing a white Christmas this year. So here's the current National Weather Service page. We have high wind watches and warnings scattered through the northern Rockies and the northwestern plains. We also see some winter weather advisories for portions of Idaho and Montana as well, believe it or not, for portions of Hawaii, and then also for northwestern Alaska there. That's where you're looking at some winter weather advisories. We have some flood watches in effect for western Oregon and Washington, as well as some dense fog advisories for portions of California and Utah. And then we also see some wind chill advisories for portions of northeastern Alaska. So we don't have a lot going on in terms of watches and warnings. Here are some of the models that we're going to be going over. We're going to look at the GFS, the NAM model, and then the European model as well. Here is what the GFS model is showing. We have two different areas of energy that are going to kind of converge over the Northeast. So we have one area of energy that's up here over the northern Great Lakes. That'll be a bigger area of energy. That'll be what's bringing in some of that colder air. We already have a high pressure in place that was behind Winter Storm Gale. So that one is bringing in some of that colder air into the eastern United States. So definitely it will be probably cold enough for a lot of these areas to get snow, especially if you live just away from the coast. And then we have another piece of energy which you can't see on the screen right now, but it'll be down here in the Tennessee Valley, and that'll move up into the Northeast. And these two pieces of energy may converge somewhere over here in the Northeast, and we'll have to see how that does interact with each other. So this would be by later today, right around 1 p.m. Eastern time. Here to be right around 4 p.m. Here's by 7 p.m. And we're starting to see these two areas of energy converge. Now what the GFS model does is it likes to bring more of that. It likes to kind of converge these two systems, which would make it a bigger system. It would be able to pull in some more cold air, and that rain snow line would get a lot further to the coast. So if we continue this forward, you start to see some of that snow breaking out over to the interior mid-Atlantic. We see some of that snow, again, for portions of Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Virginia, Maryland, and then into New Jersey for some of those areas where you guys are looking at light to moderate snowfall in some areas, and then rainfall on the western or southern end of this. The GFS is the outlier model. The European and the NAM model are both showing more of a snowstorm for portions of the interior Northeast, and then the NAM 3CAM model even shows a little bit more snowfall for these regions. So there are definitely some discrepancies within the models, but definitely I think I'm going to lean more to the European model than any of these, because the European model agrees more with the NAM model, which is a high resolution model. So both of those are agreeing that we'll have a fairly sizable storm, or at least some snow, for the interior Northeast. The GFS is the only one that shows this type of setup, so I'm more inclined to believe those two models than just the GFS model. Now here's what the GFS model does as we get through the day on Sunday, right around 1 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, and we're looking at some of that snow breaking out for portions of the Northeast. The coastal areas and the areas around the Great Lakes are all rain areas. Just inland, probably by about 20 to 30 miles, are in that snow area. So a lot of these areas are going to be seeing another additional coating of snowfall. Some of those areas along the coastal Northeast get some of that snow out of here, and then over portions of the interior Northeast and northern New England, it's still snowing for portions of upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. So those areas might still be seeing snow as we get to right around 7 p.m. on Monday, and then this all heads out of here. So here's what the European model is showing. We see that northern piece of energy with some of that cold air from that high pressure that's already in place, somewhat like this. We see again that northern piece of energy right here, and we're starting to see a little bit of that southern piece of energy start to move into the frame here. So As we move this forward, you start to see that by tonight, right around 7 p.m. Eastern time, that those two areas of energy really converge somewhere over the Ohio Valley, and then they head into the northeast. You start to see some snow break out for portions of the interior northeast and into the eastern Ohio Valley. And then moving forward, you start to see a lot more mixing as we get overnight into Sunday morning. So this would be right around 4 in the morning. Here's by 7 in the morning, and it's snowing over portions of West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, southern upstate New York. And then as we continue this forward, this little area of energy pulls away further to the north. You start to see some of that snow break out into the interior northeast. So for portions of Pennsylvania and upstate New York, you guys are seeing some light to moderate snowfall. And then moving this forward, you start to see that by Sunday, right around 7 p.m., we're looking at more of that snow for northern New England. So probably by the later half of the day on Sunday, this is all moving out of here, and it should be dry on that back end, but you might actually see some lake effect for a lot of these areas as we get into Monday morning. So here's what the NAM 3Cam model is showing, and this is the most high resolution of all of these models, and this is really good, especially in these shorter range situations. Usually, once you're within about 50 to 60 hours, this does perform quite well. And as we see, we have a little area of energy further to the north in portions of southern Ontario. We see that area to the south over here, and then again, we have that very cold air mass that's still plunging into the eastern United States. So as we continue this forward, you start to see that by Saturday, right around 7 p.m., we're looking at more of that snow breaking out for northern Michigan and then into Canada, but it's mainly rain as you get further south. And then as we get to right around, this would be right around 1 in the morning Eastern time on Sunday, we're looking at some of that snow very scattered, breaking through portions of the interior northeast. What the NAM 3K model does is it brings that southern piece of energy, it keeps it a little bit flatter, so it's just sliding across further to the south. It has that northern piece of energy dip down a little bit. So what this is going to do is bring this little area of rainfall up the coast, and that'll eventually turn over to snow for a lot of these regions if this were to be correct. We also have more of that snow for the interior northeast and getting closer to the Great Lakes. So as we continue this forward, you start to see that by right around 10 p.m., here's by 1 p.m., we're dealing with that southern piece of energy lifting northward, maybe some snow showers on the southern end of the storm, and then on that northern end of the storm, more snow and rain mixed in there, especially around the Great Lakes. And then as we continue forward, you start to see that by right around 7 p.m., we're looking at more of that snow moving into northern New England. And then as we get to Monday, right around 1 or 4 a.m., we're looking at this really getting out of here, and the only areas seeing snowfall by this point are northern Maine. So here's what the snowfall totals look like from the GFS model. We're looking at anywhere in those grays, under 1 inch to 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches, or 2 to 6 inches in the blues, and then especially in those darker blues, that's where you're looking at 4 to 6 inches of snowfall there. So we see a widespread dusting of snowfall through much of the northeast, but then those isolated heavier pockets of snowfall, according to the GFS, really set up over portions of the interior northeast, where a couple areas might pick up another 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. And a lot of the models actually are picking up on a band of snowfall right around here in between the Adirondack Mountains and also in between the Catskills there. So right in between there, you might see a little pocket of 4 to maybe even 5 inches of snowfall if some of what the models are showing are correct. Now here's what the European model is showing. We see some of that lake effect still for the area in between the Adirondacks and the Catskills, but we see a wider swath of 2 to 3 inches of snowfall from Ohio into northern Vermont. So here's what the NAM 3Cam model is showing, and we're looking at also that piece of southern energy pushing through, maybe 1 inch or so of snowfall at the most from that, if that does happen. But the real focus will be again over portions of the Ohio Valley and the interior northeast, where some of those more isolated regions and some of those higher elevations are probably going to pick up 2 or 3 inches of snowfall. And then again, that lake effect region could see maybe 4 or 5 inches of snowfall in some cases. Now here's what my forecast shows, and I'm looking at under 1 inch of snowfall for many of these regions through the upper Great Lakes, and then again for another area through the eastern Ohio Valley and moving through portions of the interior northeast. You could see some flakes if you live just south of that under 1 inch area, but I think again it's not going to stick too much, and it's nothing that's going to be too major. Really, as you get into this light blue area, this is where you might actually see some accumulation out of this storm. 1 to 3 inches of snowfall in the higher elevation locations of West Virginia and then moving through portions of Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and Vermont, as well as a little area of New Hampshire and portions of Michigan there, where you're looking at 1 to 3 inches, probably in a lot of these areas closer to 1 to 2 inches of snowfall. But if you do live within these two little areas, one for portions of northwestern Pennsylvania, just inland of the Great Lakes, and another area from, again, that region in between the Adirondack Mountains and also the Catskills, that's where you're looking at 3 to 6 inches, probably closer to 3 to 5 inches of snowfall out of this event. So if you would like a personal snowfall forecast, or you would like a personal forecast from this storm, definitely leave a comment down below, and I'll be answering your comments within about an hour or two of you posting it. And also, if you do enjoy this type of content, please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.